Hey everyone, Griff Hamlin here. Welcome. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to do something based off of kind of one of the more recent videos I've been doing, kind of about chord shapes and about the 5 caged shapes and stuff like that. But this is going to be a very different thing, because what I'm going to do is I actually want to show you how knowing about chord shapes and the how chords are put together and how we modify chords and how we create scales and patterns and all that stuff I've talked about over some of these recent videos, how it applies for slide guitar in open tuning. And that might seem like, really? How's that going to go together? But it actually goes together extremely well. So I'm going to hold on to the slide here. First, I want to talk a little bit about like the tuning and what I've got going on and how it is that I use sort of the caged shapes and that little bit of knowledge that goes with how those are built to make this work. So if you think about an E-shaped tuning, right now my guitar is in open E tuning, right? So E, I brought the A up to a B, I brought the D up to an E, I brought the G up to a G sharp, then I have my B and my E just like I always did. Okay, so nothing has really changed there. But of course, if you think about it, the 12th fret's going to be all the same notes. Well, in an E shape, right, we have root, 5th, root, 3rd, 5th, root. Okay, well, and hopefully, that you've kind of got down by now. So that means that if that's a root, that's a 7th, if I decided I wanted that. Root, 9th, flatted 3rd, regular 3rd. Right? Just by, kind of keeping track of things again. There's the 5, so there's a 6, there's a 5, there's a 4, there's a 3. Of course, I've got a 3 down here, so that means a half step down. There's a flat 3, a half step up is the 4, then the 5. I just kind of know where they are. There's the root again, so there's a flat 7 again. Or the 9 or the flat 3 of the 3. There's a 5, so there's a 4. Right? There's a root, flat 7, 5, 6. They're all here, right? So in with the regular pentatonic scale or the regular blues scale, there are certain sounds that we like to make, okay? That's one right there. Now, I just played that in open tuning. How is it that I played it in open tuning? Well, very simple. I knew it was the root, the flat 7th, the 5 slides to the 4. Here, I should probably focus in for you. Starts with the root, goes to the flat 7, then I know the little slide goes from the 5 to the 4. Well, there's the 5, and there's the 4. The top 2 strings haven't changed, so that's pretty easy. But I know that the next note is going to be a flatted 3rd. Okay, if I know that that's 3rd, that's my flatted 3rd. If the 12th fret is the 3rd, the 11th fret is the flatted 3rd. And there's the root, right? So those are the notes. If I put my slide on, then all it is the technique. So I hope that kind of makes sense, that I can take a lick that I play in standard position all day long, or standard tuning, and if I know what the notes are, if I've been paying attention, and if I've been thinking in this sort of caged way, or this knowing, I talk about, or I have spoken about it as knowing the function of the notes, whether they're roots or thirds or fourths or fifths. If I've gotten used to thinking that way, and I'm used to looking at my licks that way, I don't really care what the tuning is. I can kind of work with it no matter what. And so that allows me to, just go and just sort of play some stuff. There's my chord. There's my 5th. If I want a 6th or a flat 7, I can just kind of make little melodies. you might have to pay attention on if I get out of position too far. But that's my chord. And of course I know that when it goes to the 4 chord, I want the flatted third. So I can keep the notes the same and just use that flatted third when that comes up. So I can basically just get by, okay? And again, this is where I'm going to be able to make some music and I'm going to be able to play something, but I'm going to start with just enough to get by. And just enough to get by is I have my root, my third, my fifth, okay? Well, I know that when it goes to the 4 chord and the 5 chord, I've got to go minor. So I'm just going to lower that third down to the flatted third, and I can go from there. With just those 4 notes, I can kind of go, I can see that, okay, well, I can go sort of a whole step or a step and a half in either direction pretty comfortably from those top couple of strings. I found enough notes to get me by. And that's awesome because now I can play. All I need is a few notes, right? I mean, think about the 4-note solo. It's 4 notes. I've already got way more than 4, so if I can't make music at this point, it's not the note's fault. It's mine, right? So hopefully that kind of makes sense, that you can see that just by having that little bit of knowledge in my head, and seeing the chord shape, even though it's tuned differently, I still am looking at it by chord tones and chord function, chord tone function, note function, whatever you want to call it. But I'm looking at it that way. I'm using these numbers, and I can see all this other stuff. So what I'm going to do before I sign off here is I've got a little E blues on my looper. I'm just going to kind of play along with it, just using this little bit. Because I'm admittedly not a fantastic slide player. It's not my forte. But I can get by and I can do this kind of stuff. Whenever I want to try it and play around with it, this is how I do it. And I just sort of make some stuff up and I get it to where, hey, I dig the sound of it and it works for me. So I wanted to share that with you today, and I hope that you kind of get something out of this, and I hope you see that this is a way that the idea of caged and the idea of looking at chord shapes and the idea of seeing chords and shapes by the note function can be so valuable and so helpful to you in ways that you probably never imagined. I didn't even imagine this till yesterday. And I was sitting around doing it and going, oh, hey, look, I think of it that way. This'll work great. So I'm going to play a little bit on the way out here, but thanks for joining me in this video, and I hope you'll also try it out for yourself.